Welcome back to Simply Green Radio here on Ask the Experts, brought to you by Simply Green Energy and Mr. Ruler, in studio with Maurice Aubry. Mo, the project manager at Simply Green Energy. Pete Maurice, True Story Pete, project manager for renewable energy for Mr. Ruler Plumbing. He specializes in the green division and water conservation. Also, Brenna Hartman, a fixie chick, founder of HealthyHomesOfRochester.com. And also their guest tonight in studio with us, Chuck Strang, president of Total Heat Systems. So again, a pleasure to have you all here in studio talking about... Now, Chuck, you specialized in geothermal installation. That's what we've been talking about. I'll leave it up to you guys. We wanted to talk a little bit about installation, and we do have a caller on hold that we'll get to in a minute. But I was asking during the break, how easy or how simple is the installation of what we're talking about here?
Well, different situations require different installations, but it's basically putting a plastic pipe in the ground, filling it with water, flushing it out, pressurizing it, and then the water is pumped through the ground, lengths to be determined by the load of your house. Whatever heating requirements are of your house determines the length of the pipes. And you have to have the water in the ground long enough for the heat to absorb into the water, and then it's transferred into your home.
Okay. You guys want to? We'll take this phone call right now. We'll bear with me here. Need to slide that. There we go. Welcome in, Ron. Ron, welcome to Simply Green Radio. Do you have a question or a comment?
Yes, I had a question about the nature of, I guess, the soil or the land where it's located. Okay, if I don't have to dig down into the dirt too far before I hit shale where I live, does that pose a problem?
It depends on how deep the shale goes. I think you have other options. If you don't have a lot of room, you can go vertical and you go down beyond the shale.
Well, I don't know. I'm on a big hill, steep hill, but I was just curious. I mean, shale is kind of like rock, right? Does it still work?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes. Rock works very well with the heat. It depends on how you have to do a test hole and see exactly what you have down at certain levels to determine what you have to do there. Certain situations require different solutions.
Ron, you mentioned how deep or how shallow is the shale rock from the surface of the ground?
Well, I don't have to go down more than a shovel or two. Whatever.
That's pretty shallow.
It's pretty close to the surface there.
It's close to the surface.
Yeah.
Well, Ron, you can certainly, as Chuck was saying, they do vertical wells as well. And that's where you basically drill a hole, and it would be depending on how conductive your rock is, would determine how deep the well would have to be for your system. But it's certainly, right here in the city, Rochester, like I said, there's an old building that they hit, bedrock at about 11 feet under the surface, and they went down, I believe, 450 feet.
Wow.
For the wells, but it was very, the ground or the rock basically was very suitable for geothermal. So, again, as Chuck was saying, you almost have to do a test hole.
Okay. Can I ask another question?
Sure, go ahead, Ron.
My heating system is hot water baseboard. Is that okay? I mean, what would you do? Feed the water right into the
existing baseboard heaters?
Yeah.
That could possibly work. We'd have to look at it. Again, we got to do a heat load on the house and determine what requirements you need to make it comfortable. Some systems would work like that. Sometimes you have to redo the whole system. Is it a two-story house, Ron?
No.
All right. Well, sometimes you might have to use a forced air system instead of the baseboard. It depends on the heating loads.
So it's a calculation you'd have to do on site.
Correct, Pete. You have to. There's a lot of factors that factor into that situation.
And the process for that would be to go to mysimplygreenenergy.com, click on Contact Us. You can go ahead and fill out a questionnaire, and someone can be in touch with you very shortly and come on out right to your site and take a look.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we can always take a look, Ron.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, Ron, thanks very much for the call. We appreciate it. We encourage you to listen in next week as well, because these folks will be back in studio again next week. So we appreciate the phone call. That frees up another line now, 222-1180. Again, that number, 222-1180. In studio with Maurice Aubry, also Pete Maurice, Brenna Hartman, and Chuck Strang.
mysimplygreenenergy.com, by the way, if you want to pull that up online. Right while we're talking to you over the air, you can actually click on the tab for geothermal, and you can see pictures of how the geothermal works and a description. So when we're talking about digging through the earth, you can see it here, graphic form.
And Chuck, you were mentioning that, and I was asking off the air, and similar to Ron's call just now, I guess it all depends on where you are and basically the geography of the land that you're talking about. But I was saying how I have a friend who lives in the city. He's got a relatively small amount of property. I mean, houses in the city typically kind of on top of each other, whereas out, I believe where you said you're talking about 5 acres of land out there, so it's a little bit different when you're talking about the installation.
Oh yeah, it definitely depends on how much land you have. It's always possible to drill down. You only need a small lot that would accommodate as many holes as you would need to heat your home to get the energy out of the earth. Or if you have a lot of property, you can do a horizontal unit, 200 or 300 feet long, and depending on the situation. Every situation's different.
Right. And there's even pond loops. I mean, we were talking about the pond loops.
You can use
Chuck.
ponds. Ponds work very well.
Absolutely. And I'm kind of looking forward to doing one of those for my own, is putting a pond loop in. But absolutely.
Very effective.
222-1180, the number to call if you want to join in on the conversation. Again, that number, 222-1180. And go ahead.
Yeah, well, we were kind of talking a little bit about, what is the true cost of having something like this? And I know, Pete, we were talking off air a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You have a good question for me.
Let me take a guy that's not even in the industry and pose a question to him, Brendan.
Okay.
And let's see how he responds.
Don't beat up on him too bad.
Brendan, let's
I'm
see.
not good at math.
I sell cars. Okay,
Okay, all
I
right,
sell
yeah.
cars. You come to my car lot, and I say, I'm going to make you a deal that you will not believe. Now, I want you to go to row 15A. Those are my certain efficiency standards in those vehicles, and they're full-size cars. I want you to pick any one of those cars. And if you pick one of those cars, here's what I'm going to do for you. Okay, I'm going to give you financing that's between 3 and 4%. Even if you get credit, that's a little questionable. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to give you free gasoline for as long as you own that vehicle, or darn near free. You abuse it, you're going to kick in a little bit. But I'm going to give you basically free fuel. And on top of that, I'm going to give you 30% of your money back. I'm going to give you a tax credit right off your taxes.
30%.
30% of whatever you. I don't care if you buy a $5,000 car or there's no limit. There's no upper limit here.
Hey,
right.
Pete,
Okay.
I want one of those deals for myself.
I'm telling you, 30% off. Okay. Just about free gasoline. Okay. And what was the third thing? It has to be efficient.
Right,
Certain
right.
efficiencies. And I'm going to give you a little time to make your decision. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you the 2016.
Wow.
Okay, that's how long this.
He's a generous individual.
Now,
Wow.
if you think of it in those terms, you go, boy, that's a lot of money I'd save in gasoline. You can go get that Harley you want. You have a vacation. When we talk about renewable energy, you got to talk about the money you're saving, because that's what this is all about for me, right?
All right.
The other things I can do with that money. So, does that sound like a good deal?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what renewable energy is. That deal is there for geothermal. It is there for solar voltaic. It is there for evacuated tube technology. This is the NYSERDA 30% tax credit.
It's there for the
What do
windmills.
you pay for wind these days?
Nothing.
Nothing. What do you pay for the heat out of the soil?
Nothing.
Nothing. These are the fuels that you're using. All you're getting with renewable energy is you're buying the equipment to process the fuel.
Okay.
That's there.
Right.
And
To
there's
capture
only,
it.
you got this big ball called the sun. There's a heat source. You got this big ball called the earth. That's another source. You got wind, and you got crabgrass or whatever they're burning out there. But there's just a few really big sources of fuel for a guy like you in this car. But the gasoline, you know what that's costing? You know what Mo pays in gas a week? I'll bet you.
You have to bring that up, right? Just as I was, things were going well, I kind of forgetting about the business, and he brings it up.
This is a guy that
Want me to
spends.
get you a chair?
Yeah, please.
I assure you, it approaches the thousands.
Wow.
Okay,
A week. A week.
It's big. It's big. A lot of vehicles.
In the Prius?
Oh, that thing's sweet. I'm telling you, you gotta get one. Everybody laughs, but I love it.
So if you think of it that way, and you say, what does it really cost? And I contend that many of these systems save you more money than your monthly outlay. It's a net gain, okay? It's a net gain. what do you care what it costs if you're coming out ahead?
Let's try and squeeze in one more phone call before we take a break here, and it may be relevant to what we're talking about here. Patrick, welcome to Simply Green Radio. Come ahead with your question.
Hey, thanks a bunch. Just wanted to know, I was curious about the residential. I'm really enticed by possibly 45 to 60% savings in a home application.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of cost are we talking about? Rounding, maybe 30,000 square foot house. I don't know what kind of size you'd need, but I mean, is there a round figure of cost maybe I'd be looking at?
It's a great question, Patrick. Did you say a 30,000 square foot house or a 3,000 square foot house?
3,000.
I think 3,000. I hope I didn't say 30.
That's Mo's house.
No. Yeah.
That's Derek Jeter's house
Yeah,
in
right,
Florida.
Derek Jeter. Patrick, it's a great question. Once again, I mean, there's a lot of variables that come into play, but you're looking at for a geothermal system, for a 3,000 square foot house, the price range is anywhere from probably it would start in the low to mid-teens and on up, depending on what you want, because you could add hot water generator to the system.
There's a lot of factors and options, Patrick. A lot of it has to do with the heating load in your home, the insulation factors like we talked about, and the options you'd like, and the configuration. If you're using forced air now, if we have to do ductwork modifications.
But that's all whatever it costs. Total cost of labor and material and everything. 30% comes back in the form of a tax credit.
From Uncle Sam.
That's right.
As long as it's indexed to that installation and you use Energy Star systems.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me ask the question.
It's a good way to get a remodel with 30% off.
Patrick, we appreciate the phone call. That frees up another line now, 222-1180. Again, that number 222-1180. In studio tonight with Maurice Aubry, Mo, the project manager at Simply Green Energy. Pete Maurice, True Story Pete, project manager for renewable energy for Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Also with Brenna Hartman, a Fixie Chicken, founder of the healthyhomesofrochester.com, and also with Chuck Strand, president of Total Heat Systems. We do have one more caller on hold. We'll ask Chris to please be patient because we do need to cut away for a quick break. But we'll be back with more of Simply Green Radio here on Ask the Experts on News Radio 1180 WHAM.